you have a very secure self-image. Okay. Because we have deadlines too when the training has to be done. So just.
To call the meeting to order of the Board of Commissioners for January 18, 2024. Stand for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Smasko?
Present.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Present.
Commissioner Beeden?
Present.
Commissioner Trello?
Present.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Here.
Commissioner Chairperson Bo?
Here. Item 4, additions, deletions, changes to motion to add item A to the
This time I would move to add the Smiths Creek landfill flare rental agreement to the agenda. I'm not sure where you want to add that.
Item T.
Very good, thank you.
Support, Baldwin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval of the agenda. Motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
Support, Baldwin.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6, items A and B.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve and file the minutes of the December 14th, 23 commission meeting and the January 4th, 24 standing committee meetings.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7, proclamations. Item A. I think, Dave, you have that proclamation?
I do. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation recognizing Robert Silver.
Support.
Well, discussion. I will let you, you'll be able to get that to the family.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 8, consent agenda, items A through H.
This time I'd like to make a motion to approve items 8A through 8H on the consent agenda.
Support, Beeden.
Thank you.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 9, reports of standing and special committees. Start with Commissioner Samasco.
I guess Parks and Rec, we had the first meeting of the year. We did the bylaw changes. They had the first meeting, went very well. They elected officers, and there's a lot of excitement to the members on the board. I think it's going to work well.
Okay.
None tonight.
Lisa?
None tonight.
David?
We had a meeting with Coast Guard, and there's going to be some changes to our service area. Of course, they're reducing as amount we're going to get service. Hard to believe. They've got plenty of equipment, but not enough people. So we're going to be serviced mainly by air from Detroit. And then I don't quite understand how they're really going to be able to be effective, but they'll be here for special events. And then we'll also had more discussion with the fire chiefs over encryption. So
So summertime, less boats from the Coast Guard, or no boats?
pretty much no boats.
Boats. Okay, interesting.
So we're going to be leaning more and more on our first responders between the sheriff's department and fire departments.
Interesting.
Question for, don't they call out though as an assist, like if we have an incident, say Marine Patrol, wouldn't Coast Guard deploy perhaps, or is that, they're just separate?
No, they,
Can we call for assistance? Let's say because we have boats and then we put the boats out, can you call for Coast Guard assist or no?
we could, but it's going to be 3 to 5 hour.
From Detroit.
So I'm assuming the backlog would be through the Customs and Border Patrol piece of it, with some of their boats? Yeah.
I don't know if they're really, because there's a communication barrier there between some of the other boats too, especially in the federal side.
So will there no longer be people stationed here? This will no longer be a port?
No, there'll still be stuff in Port Huron, but they're also going to be, they're going to be actually working further north too. So.
Commissioner Rushing.
2 things. Wales Township Treasurer resigned in December. Did stick around for all the winter tax bills and went very smoothly. They worked with Columbus, and they just appointed a new treasurer to finish the term Tuesday morning at a special meeting. The Riley Township Board, last Tuesday night, the clerk for Riley resigned, and she's going to stick around until March 1st to make sure that the election goes well, the primary in February, but that'll be filled just after March. And, I think we got 3 or 4 that are going to be putting applications in.
Okay, Joey?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
I'll take a pass, but I'm going to actually call Sheriff King up just to give a little update on the jail heat situation.
Well, good evening. I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to speak today. There's been some concerns about a problem in the jail and the heat throughout the jail. Obviously, we've all experienced very cold temperatures over the last week. And what happened was on January 13th, the St. Clair County Detention Intervention Center experienced a power disruption. Now, the generators operated as they should have. However, it tripped the HVAC system, shutting it down. It did not turn automatically back on when the generators turned back on. Due to the cold temperatures in the area, the intervention center rapidly cooled. Now, it's an all-concrete building, so it's a challenge as it is to keep it up to temperature. Once discovered, maintenance department was notified, and they're able to restart the HVAC system. Unlike our home, your system or the building doesn't warm quickly. It's a huge space, obviously, and again, we're dealing with a different kind of heating and cooling system. Temperatures readings were taken throughout the intervention center, and although very uncomfortable for some, there was never any dangers. There were certain cells that were extremely cold, I'll say to the point of being uncomfortable, but again, not dangerous. Extra blankets were handed out, and if the cell was at a point where we felt it was too cold, some of the cells have exposed walls, we moved those inmates and detainees to other cells where it was possible. I want to emphasize that at no point did we have no heat at the intervention center. There had been a lot of rumors out there. Unfortunately, I did not directly get contacted, but thankfully I have contacts in the community who contacted me about concerns. And again, family members and people who were concerned about the inmates and detainees contacted individuals who contacted me, and that's why I'm here. Yesterday, we were able to get the HVAC system running up at full power. The maintenance department has done an outstanding job. The new director, Michael Shaw, has been on site several times. Readings have been taken throughout the building, and temperatures are up to a feasible standard for living in the area. Again, at no point were we at a point where there was no heat. This couples a problem that had happened several months ago. Again, the heating and cooling system is a unique heating and cooling system. We had a catastrophic fail with some pipes, and some pipes cracked. Probably a dozen joints cracked. We had a water problem. Hot water's pumped throughout the building, and that creates the heat for the building with some forced air up against those hot pipes. The maintenance department has done a stellar job coming out to the intervention center over the last few months. The catastrophic fail was basically a freak accident because of some sensors that went bad. There was no way of telling it was going to happen. It was no fault of anyone's. The director of maintenance responded immediately, along with all of the contractors you could imagine, and the work that was done by local contractors was nothing less than outstanding to get the system back and up and running. That system was up and running, but not to full capacity. Without getting into the minutia too much of it, there are 3 pumps that pump the water throughout the system. 2 are out getting rebuilt. 1 pump is doing the job of 3, and we're trying to keep up with the demand of heat. The problem that happened several months ago had the attention of maintenance, so maybe saved us from something even worse with the other problem we had just a couple of weeks ago. Point of the story is we are aware of the situation. Heat is back to normal within the building, and there was an outstanding response by the maintenance department. Everybody that works there and the director worked with the administrator, Carrie Hepting, and everybody was all hands on deck. But basically, I'm here to dispel any rumors that there's no heat at the jail. It's back up and running at full capacity, and everybody in there is being attended to properly.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Citizens wishing to address the board, Robert Felix.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Robert Felix. I want to recognize that the board has taken several measures to contain the odors from the landfill septic bioreactor and identify and quantify possible threats to the community. Tonight, I'm asking this board to take additional steps toward those goals. Step 1, the county hires an accounting firm to conduct and make public a report on the finances of the bioreactor portion of the landfill. This report should cover at least the last 5 years and definitively determine if the bioreactor portion of the landfill has been making or losing money for the residents of St. Clair County. As we evaluate feasibility of this bioreactor, there's a need for a larger flare. This year is going to see the need for scrubbers due to federal changes for the hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide emissions. This will be important. Number two, that the county initiates discussions with wastewater treatment plants in our county to see what changes would be needed to accommodate the septage that is generated in this county. Number three, regarding the land east of the landfill that is being mined for soil to use in the landfill, at the Kimball Town Hall meeting in November of 2023, at the 43-minute mark, Landfill Director Matt Williams told the audience that there are no current plans to expand the landfill into that area whatsoever. I'm requesting that the county give his statement legal standing in the form of a deed restriction or an irrevocable document. When the soil mining is complete, the county, along with Kimball Township, will establish a park on those parcels for the future use of the residents of St. Clair County. Step 4, at an earlier meeting, Commissioner Baldwin requested that the results of air monitoring will be made public on a website the county will establish. I'm asking that the county expand on that idea to have a landfill landing page website similar to what Kimball Township has for the Smiths Creek landfill. This would provide information and updates to all. Commissioners, we will all continue to study and learn about the septage bioreactor experiment at the landfill and its effects on the community and the economics of St. Clair County. I believe that these steps will help in that effort. Thank you very much.
Rob Yukowski.
All right, I got 3 things, so I'll try to be quick. First of all, on the landfill, I'm pretty disappointed with the responses that the landfill has given to the violation notices. With the exception of the last one, most of them have just been purely denials. And I think for my community, myself, my board, what we would like to know is, what was the cause? What was the cause of the failure? Obviously, we're doing a whole lot of things at the landfill. How do those 2 things correlate? How do the failures and what we're putting into place correlate? Do they work together? And then finally, what are we doing to avoid that moving forward? It's gonna be hard to get the trust of the people back in that area, but I think if we can come out and say, look, this is where we failed, this is what we've done to fix it, and here's what we're doing to prevent it, I think that would go a long way with the community. I still think that water testing should be done. I know there's some apprehension there. I think it was 2019, there was some water testing done in that area. That's 4 years ago. I mean, we've obviously didn't have air quality failures back then. We do have them now. So it is possible that there could be failures in the water system, so I would like to see that done as well. My next thing is there's a grant on the agenda tonight. That grant is incredibly important to Kimball Township. So our sewer is running near capacity along Allen Road. 40,000 gallons a day of that is the landfill leachate coming out of the airport. If I have that off of my system, we never anticipated that it would be quite that large, then I would have capacity to do some developments, which right now I am telling developers I have one housing project, an apartment building, and another development potential that I've told they can't move forward until I have this issue resolved. So having that grant would really help. Kimball Township is not the person that would be writing the grant. However, we have invested $50,000 already into that grant process by hiring KLJ to write for the grant. So I would appreciate your support on that. The last one is I'm also president of the St. Clair County Fair. I saw that the contract was on the agenda tonight. I just want to say Dennis Delore has been fantastic to work with. In fact, the entire staff there has been just outstanding over the last several years. We're putting about 150,000 people a year through there right now. during the fair. Dennis was pretty upfront about where the contract would be, so we were not surprised by the contract amount, although it is quite a big increase, 67% increase. We kind of anticipated that. However, the fair, and I just want to say moving on, our fair has invested $150,000 in the park in the last 8 years, whether it's new roofs, new electrical. So we would like that to be taken into account moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Unfinished business. Do we want to make a motion and just to get that thing off the agenda if we're not going to make a motion and then we can kill it, or what?
I would move to remove that as a unfinished business item and only put it back on if we reinitiate it with administration. I think that's appropriate.
I got a
Support.
second on that?
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's gone. Item 12, new business, approval of county disbursements for November.
This time I move to approve county disbursements for the month of November of 2023 in the amount of $14,994,241.60.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball?
Yes. Item B.
This time I'd like to make a motion to approve county disbursements for the month of December 2023 in the amount of $13,760,917.48. Support. Baldwin?
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball?
Yes. Item C.
Move to approve the agreement with McNaughton for a library material subscription lease program in the amount of $64,974 for term 1 of 24 through 12/31/24.
Support. Baldwin?
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball?
Yes. Item D.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the marijuana operation and oversight grant application in the amount of $46,978 with a term of January 1, 2024 through September 15, 2024.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball?
Yes. Item E.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve $419,947 for a purchase of a new boat with the Marine, in a pack for Marine for St. Clair County Sheriff's Office for the Marine Division.
Support.
Sounds like we're going to need that thing more than ever. Roll call.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Ball?
Yes.
I did have a question, Jeff. It's not too late. Just a question on that boat. This got to be one heck of a boat. I mean, it's got to be a top of the line.
It's a fully enclosed with
Style.
heat, so that they can use in inclement weather.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
So we have one at each end of the county that's fully enclosed.
Was any of that cost grant money, anything like that, or was it all funded through the chief, you know? It was all what?
CIP.
Okay, good. So that's good. Okay, that's good. I appreciate putting in for that kind of a grant. So, thank you.
Item F.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024 Public Safety Answering Point Training Fund Grant application for 2024 as presented.
Support. Baldwin?
Thank you.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item G.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with Legal Server for the Public Defender's Office for case management services in the amount of $34,550 and a subscription service in the amount of $7,950 for a term of 3/1/24 through 12/31/24.
Support. Whedon.
Thank you.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandembosh?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item H.
This time I move to approve the purchase of a 3,000-gallon 2014 International 4400 diesel refueler truck by Kitty Hawk Leasing LLC for the airport in the amount of $74,000 and to place the current truck in the next auction for disposal.
Support.
Discussion. Steve.
That would be a used vehicle, most likely, a 2014, I'm assuming?
Correct.
I like that, I'm glad, I'd like to see that, that's probably a bargain. Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandembosh?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item I.
This time I would move to approve the revisions to the Parks and Recreation manning table, adding a full-time clerk 2 and full-time marketing graphic designer, and eliminating a part-time clerk 2 and full-time office coordinator.
Support. Baldwin.
Discussion. All in favor?
I was going to make this.
Aye.
Yes.
I
Hang
just
on.
want people to know what this was. We had there's an individual working there marketing that was part-time. You heard some of the folks talk about how Parks is really doing a great job. This person was integral and probably would be leaving had they not done a manning table change. So they stayed within budget and reduced the position, changed the position, made her full-time. And I get really good reports from our park manager on the social media part of what they put out there for tourism and the parks and so forth. And so I just wanted to make a little statement on that before we go down.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item J.
This time I move to approve Addendum B to the agreement with S.A. Torello for landfill materials, increasing the contract not to exceed $147,590.91 for the term ending 11/30/23.
Support. Baldwin.
Discussion. Roll. You're going to abstain?
I'm going to abstain.
All right. Roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandembosh?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item K.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with Motorola Solutions for the purchase of backup prep radios for central dispatch and 2-year subscription service in the amount of $22,879.40.
Support. Whedon.
Just kind of, I guess, off topic of this, but Dave, going back to what you talked about earlier, I should ask that question then. How we getting any closer on any of the encryption stuff? Is that moving along or?
Well, we're going to end up having we're going to try and put some county protocols together first before we move forward with the encryption part of it and actually start doing it more instead of just phone here it is. We're going to start putting how we're doing it and more of a better time frame together instead of just pushing it through. We're going to try and do the legal part of it first.
Yeah.
And we're going to look at a lot of the other counties that are already doing it.
Must be within a year?
For which discipline?
Well,
No, the police are going to be first. But then I don't know if the fire will ever fall in line. They may or may not. So,
do we want to keep this on the agenda or put it back on once we do have it further down the road?
It's just, Dave's on it. He's in all the meetings and all the stuff. He knows that stuff, so he can report out. Roll call.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandembosh?
yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item L.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the District 2 ARPA project for Radio First for the replacement of the emergency alert system encoder in the amount of $4,835.13.
Support.
Thank you.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandembosh?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item M.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the revision to the District 4 ARPA project for the Visiting Nurses Association to include the purchase of pull-out love seats, couches for patients' rooms.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bo?
Yes. Item N,
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agreement with Infuse Architects in the amount of $36,150 for the administration building roof replacement project.
Support, Baldwin.
discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bo?
Yes. Item O,
I'm sorry. Move to approve the AEW Inc. Incorporated for architectural service courthouse roof project, in the amount of $29,000.
Support?
discussion, roll call.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bo?
Yes. Item P,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the front of the court manning table revision, adding a full-time ACT coordinator position.
Support, Baldwin.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item Q,
This time I move to adopt Resolution 24-01, designating Carrie Hepting, Administrator, Controller, and Dina Aldrich, Finance Director, as authorized signatories for the county.
Support, Baldwin.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. R,
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the professional services agreement with Tetra Tech in Addendum 1 for air quality monitoring for the landfill in a total of $25,100.
Support? Eden?
Thank you.
discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Trello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bo?
Yes. Item S,
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended 2023 St. Clair County apportionment report.
Support? Eden?
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item T,
This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the lease agreement with Perennial Energy for the rental of a flare skid for the landfill in the amount of $38,115 for a 3-month term.
Support, Baldwin.
discussion,
I had a question. Is Matt going to talk a bit about the landfill today or not? 'Cause it relates to this, but I can wait for Matt.
I guess we can get him up there, you got him here?
You look way too comfortable back there anyway.
He was sleeping.
I was just going to make a point that I thought that was a lot of money for the flare until I turned to page 3. The replacement cost on the flare is $248,000. So that wasn't such a bad lease agreement. But the question I had, Matt, I sent you an email last week regarding, we had an issue with a flare that's there now that went down, and it was producing gas without burning it, correct?
Correct.
And it was not an auto shut-off situation where there was nothing to really shut that down automatically, is that correct?
The flare shut down inadvertently on its own. For the
Okay.
cause, we don't know.
Okay, so, but this new flare with additional capabilities, I'm looking through this a little bit, this flare, as I also looked at a Code of Federal Relation site I sent you that said it had to have a manual shut-off or an automatic shut-off. Does this do that? That's my question.
Yes.
So
Yes,
that
it does.
takes care of that?
And it also has an automatic restart function. It will attempt to restart itself on its own.
Okay.
It
And
will
then-
also have call-out capability that.
That was an
so we
extra
would be
charge, so
notified
you'll be notified.
immediately upon.
So that should take care of the problem where we had 10 hours of an unlit flare, or hopefully I'll take care of it. And then the other question was on the report, the most recent notice of violation response. As our supervisor from Kimball indicated, I also liked it much better than the previous ones. CTI and yourself had answered their allegations, contested certain things, acknowledged certain things. But in that document, finally, they talked about a main problem being low vacuum in cell 8. Did you agree with that statement? Mm-hmm. And then this header rehab, That's the main trunk coming out of that cell 8, is that what that is?
The main trunk coming, it takes cell 8 and
To the
rest
blower.
of the areas of the landfill.
And then
Truck ends.
this header rehab, that's something we've already started, or is that done, or where are we
That's
at?
been done.
Okay.
That was done several months ago.
And this main trunk blower, that's the vacuum unit, right?
Yes.
And does that relate to the flare? Is this flare coordinated with that, or is that something different?
No, the main trunk blower is talking about the flare and blower skid at the front of the site that controls the entire system, except for the wells we've carved out to go to the supplemental flow.
So to kind of answer Supervisor Usatowski's question, we're getting, I think, finally, this was the first response where I saw someone where they actually said the main problem was this thing, and these things are fixing that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this flare we're getting will replace the flare that was, had a problem, or is it in addition to it?
It will replace.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Smasko?
Yes.
Commissioner Baldwin?
Yes.
Commissioner Beeden?
Yes.
Commissioner Chairperson Bone?
Yes. Item 13.
We done with Matt, or are you going to still have?
Anything else that you wanted from me?
No?
Can I just interject
Sure.
one item? The Tetra Tech agreement for air monitoring that was approved tonight in the amount of $25,000. That was originally about a $17,000 contract that was to do 5 days of monitoring. We extended that with the administrator's concurrence to a 10-day monitoring window. That was the reason for the additional amount in there. We're hoping to get that monitoring was concluded last Friday. The data is being compiled and being put into a report, which we should receive within a day or two. We're hopeful that we can get that report once we review it and take a look if we've got any questions and do our QC on it and our review, to have that reported on the county website, posted on the county website sometime, hopefully late next week. And just one other item, while I've got the floor, if I may. Mr. Usikowski mentioned a grant opportunity for, that's out there from the EPA. The township needs sewer capacity, and the landfill is going to need some PFAS treatment for the PFAS concentrations that are in our leachate. Up to this date, the Port Huron wastewater treatment plant has taken our wastewater without any major issues. That window is going to be closing at some time in the near future. One of the things that this grant opportunity would do, as it's currently being crafted by KLJ, would give us a solution to our PFAS and give us a way to get rid of it, as well as remove that waste stream from the township sewer. So there's benefit both to the landfill and the county as well as the township. And I know we're going, some of the commissioners are going to be reviewing and talking tomorrow about that grant opportunity to get some more information about what it means, what it looks like. So just wanted to put that out there for you.
Okay, before you do your administrator's report, normally we don't do this, but Sherry? She was a late arrival, but that's fine.
You're such a compassionate chair, Jeff.
Thank you. There are some of us that thought it started at 6:30 tonight, so normally we would have been more prompt. Commissioners, I'm here about the landfill. The bioreactor landfill is in big part Commissioner Bohm's agenda and has been from the onset. We know that this RDDP landfill is failing on multiple levels. If you have not thoroughly read the most recent violations, I urge you to do so. The focus of the landfill has been on cell 8. The December violations indicate that cell 3 is also impaired. There was a violation for no permit on the new flare that you say is fixing the problem. The amount of recorded issues with the landfill is astounding. You attempted to fool us with the odor neutralizers, so now we trust you even less, unfortunately. We requested at a previous meeting that you do not employ anything to cover the smell. You did anyway. We want to know why. In February 2011, the National Association of Counties wrote an article on the landfill. In summary, it stated that the bioreactor landfill came off the drawing board because the waste from the landfill was leaking into the groundwater. The board at that time clearly knew this was happening. Commissioner Bohm and I think several others were part of that board. Commissioner Bohm used his relationship with previous commissioners that moved up to the state and federal level to install changes to the rules and regulations to ensure this bioreactor landfill would come to fruition. In September 2011, CTI and others involved in the RDDP landfill commissioned for House Bill 4875, Act 215, to amend its dual liner regulation to a single liner system. They had no way to know the long-term outcome of that decision. I think our community can vouch for the outcomes, especially after reading the violation report. Eagle is only documenting problems as of September, and many of us were experiencing the issues long before that. It is no coincidence that Commissioner Bohm is co-chair of the organization Blue Means Green, which was involved in the completion of the bioreactor landfill expansion. The common denominators in all of the records of this landfill are Commissioner Bohm, Matt Williams, CTI, DTE, aka Blue Water Renewables. We have binders full of legal records, articles, interviews, and the like. The people of this county are in constant battle to preserve our community. We don't deserve to be poisoned by a landfill or wind and solar farms. We don't want the 26-mile road project. We want thriving agriculture, a healthy way of life, schools that actually teach reading, writing, science, history, math, and art. We want to preserve our small towns and way of life. This board needs to hear this. Commissioner Bohm, you have traded the well-being of our community for money, and it's time for your resignation.
You need to wrap it up, please.
Commissioner Smasco, thank you for being the one person on this board who is actually trying to help.
Okay, moving on to administrators report.
I just want to expand on Matt's update a little bit. He spoke of the air monitoring. We have been working with the health department and reviewed maps that were produced and have identified parcels to the east of the landfill that testing has taken place. It'll take approximately 4 weeks to get those results because those aren't tests that we normally do what they're testing for, so they go to the state. The health department is ordering more of the specialized kits, and they will be reviewing the map to do a sampling of those that are on the west side of the landfill. We chose to start with the east side because the groundwater does flow from west to east, so that makes the most sense. And I do want to clarify a statement made by Mr. Usikowski that we do water sampling every 6 months, not the last time it was done was not 2019. We are required to do it every 6 months, and those reports are available. We have created a spot on the county's website that we have started putting that information out there. As soon as the air quality report is ready, we will be posting that. We anticipate it will be up there next week. We do have some of our water monitoring reports going back several quarters, several years are on there as well, along with updates on the response that the landfill and the board has been taking. Based on your December Board of Commissioners meeting, the board had requested that administration review the contract policy and how items are placed on consent agenda and versus regular business. So we will have a proposal coming to you in February regarding that, some proposed revisions to that policy. We had our bond rating call for the recent drain bonds that were authorized, and our rating came back as a AA stable. They reaffirmed our existing rating. The ARPA consultants have been provided all of the outstanding projects that we had already had, and they are going through the review process. So you will see quite a few of those projects coming to you on your February agenda as well. A couple of the projects need additional information, so we're getting those meetings set up with the correct people to vet those a little bit further. And the camera project that the Board of Commissioners approved last year for this building, those cameras are set to be installed in February.
Anything for Carrie? Steve?
Question for Carrie on the testing of the water. Every 6-month testing you're referring to is on-site testing for compliance at the landfill?
Yes, that's correct.
And then-
Those, I think it's 14, 16 wells that we have.
The vertical wells, but we are also testing off-site, right? That's the other piece of it.
Yes, that's
I want to
correct.
clarify.
That's what the health department
Yeah.
is beginning to work on.
And they're kind of the health department, the environmental health, or our health department, they're kind of the lead on that, they're coordinating that. That's the county department taking care of that.
Yes, that's correct.
And then 2019 reference, just for the record, that was a PFAS study. That was part of the Kimball Township meeting. There was a study there from the state on PFAS that was substantial, or the testing regime established by the state for PFAS. So I think that's where people talk about the testing in 2019 off-site. That was a study the state did that showed there was no issues at that time as it relates to that particular study and the places tested. But we are doing the other testing. So to switch gears, this proposal on the consent agenda, I'd asked for that, and that's going to be a committee item we can discuss.
That's correct. So the board actually has a policy on policies, so.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the policy will actually come to you at committee, but you won't adopt it at full board because there's a 30-day waiting period, because it also goes to all of the department heads to review for feedback as well, so
Can we look at the policy on policies?
if you would like.
I would like to look at that. I'd like to see that. You know. But the point being, there was a large contract went through on a consent agenda, and it met the criteria, so I appreciate you looking at that. And then the cameras, what was the ultimate cost on those cameras?
I believe it was around 37, 36.
That's a lot. And then those cameras, I believe, were kind of the result of the incident in the hallway back in July or August, right? It ended up with the leaky trial and all that.
Yes, they had been talked about for some time, but that did prompt us to move much quicker.
Do you have any idea what there was? I know Mr. Linky's being sentenced, I believe, tomorrow. Did the county request any reimbursement for medicals or anything? Would that be something just Donaldson did?
That is not something I'm aware of. That would be something the prosecuting attorney's office would.
Okay, just curious. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve the administrator's report.
Support.
Aldwin.
In favor?
Aye.
Miscellaneous business. Any miscellaneous business to come before us? Probably one of the things I would, and I don't know if we're there, but that system at the jail's 20 years old now, right? I don't know if we have the in-house people that can say yay, nay, good, we should look at replacing it. I don't know, or maybe get an outside, 20 years on a unit that size, that big, that's quite a bit. So I don't know what your feelings are on that, Carrie.
Yeah, I know the sheriff and our maintenance department are looking at a solution. Given the system and the complications, I'm not entirely certain we would be able to do it with in-house staff. We may need to bring in someone to review the system and perhaps design a system that can adequately handle the facility.
Okay.
I had a question, this actually for Matt. If you could ask Matt to pop back up for a second. It's the landfill question, Matt, on other business. Hate to do that to you, but I just sent Matt an email asking, or it actually relates back to last year. You may recall, Matt, we had a discussion about the contract we have with DTE and the threshold for additional energy production and putting out engines and so forth. And we talked about it back 3-4 months ago, and you weren't sure if we were there. And then Corporation Counsel had sent an email out regarding some things with the contract and that the process to notify them, which we discussed. As soon as we hit a certain threshold, we would notify them. They had so many days to verify. If they verified the gas level of excess production, they then had so many days to commit to use it by establishing other energy conversion, the engines and generators. And if they didn't, we could then shop it to a third party. So long question, but are we there now? Do we know if we're there? where are we at on how much excess gas we have, and whether or not Blue Water Renewables or DTE are going to have an interest or responsibility to get that gas turned into energy rather than just burning it in a flare.
Okay, I've got a little bit of information on all that for you. Number one, by my back of the napkin reviewing of the data calculations, yes.
Okay.
We are at above the threshold level to activate that. Secondly, I had that confirmed by the engineers who took a deeper dive in the data, did a little bit more thorough analysis, and they confirmed that yes, we are there. So the next step will be to notify DTE.
And on that point, and this Corporation Counsel's not here, but Carrie, have you had any discussions on that? Are we going to give them notice? Is that a board action? Is that something Matt does? What do we do with that?
That I don't know. I was going to ask Gary about that as well.
Maybe we can check with Corporation Counsel and find out the process for that, and we can, if it's there, we should give them legal notice, that's my opinion. If, you know, and then they can take it or leave it, and then we'll deal with it, but that was my question. So, thanks, Matt, that was it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, any other miscellaneous business? Receive and file.
This time I move to receive and file packets that were sent to commissioners, packets at their places, and any other information presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Adjournment, item 16.
So moved. Baldwin.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.